And basically right now the question is health versus economy, okay? While addressing the nation from State House on Saturday, the head of state acknowledged that many Kenyans were enduring difficult times, but the measures in place had to be taken to ensure that the situation does not get out of hand, adding that he had told officials from the Ministry of Health to start telling Kenyans that we cannot continue with the lockdown and curfew. And with me here to discuss this, we have a political analyst on set. His name is Zachary Babere. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante sana, yes.
All right. So, looking at the president's statements there on Saturday, and just where things are at right now, I mean, I feel like every time this curfew is renewed, you just see like double the number of vehicles start coming out onto the road, double the number of people. Watu wamesema lazima watafute cha kukula. So what's your take really as far as what it's a tricky balance, and we're not really clear on what we need to be prioritizing at the moment? Health versus economy. We need our health to have, to be able to engage in the economy. But at the same time, the economy is also going to be affecting our health if we can't pay for stuff.
No, currently we need our health actually, but we also need our economy. If you keep on telling this, actually I agree with what the president said as the head of state. We cannot keep telling Kenyans to stay in the house. But there are measures that the Ministry of Health have to come up with for us to be able to contain this thing. It is being said that is now the peak. Actually, this is now the pandemic is starting in Kenya, all in Africa. As you can see, the ministry say that the peak will be in August and September. We cannot wait to open the economy in the fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah.
And when we do that, it will not add much.
So what are we going to do? Because if the numbers are going to get worse, I mean, already they're really terrible. This is May, right? And I think we started off at like 300 in May. We're over 1,200 now as the number of confirmed cases, and it is only May. And if you're saying that the peak is in August and September, how are we going to make that through?
You see, what we can do currently is personal responsibility. We usually say that we should conduct what the ministry should do. Now here it's the Ministry of Health to save us, for us to open the economy. They have to take certain measures, like conduct a civic education about all about this pandemic, so that person can have that personal responsibility and you have respect towards how you can help the government. It can't do everything for you. You are the person who can make it to contain this thing. Actually, you have said something like every day you see number of vehicles and number of people coming back to town is because they have nothing to eat. And this can happen whereby the government can't provide food for every Kenyan. For we to start the economy, the measures that should be taken, as you said about the hospital part, that we need our health. The health sector have to come up with isolation centers. What we have is not enough to contain the peak that we are expecting. The isolation centers should not be within the hospital, should be outside the hospital, so that those people can also access other services in the hospital. Because we have people like our ladies who are actually, some are expectant, they need services. We have what you have been discussing here with the pastor, it's about the adolescent stages. We have people who need those kind of guidance in the hospital. Those people, they will need to access the other aspect of health. So we need to come up with a measure to contain all these for the economy to start. Yes.
Okay. So what then are some of the key policies that you particularly would like to see from the Ministry of Health to enable us to really be able to get the best of both of these, because we need both of these things to function well?
Yeah, sure. The key point that I wanted to see from the government, not only from the government but from the ministry, as I said, one, isolation centers should be outside of the hospital to reduce the load in the hospital, so that they can be somewhere and then they can be able to tell. They cannot be, why should they bring the symptomatic people inside the hospital? They should not be in the hospital because they don't need that services.
Okay.
And then the other thing they should do, they should make sure they have they have they have a good number of health workers, and take care of the health workers, employ more health workers. They can also be in a contract basis, whereby the numbers we are having, as we can see, our curve is, it's not stabilizing or dropping. That means that we need more health workers, and also we have to check of the vulnerables, like those people who are likely to be infected by this disease. Which age, as they were saying that it is the age of 60 and above. In the among the within the 3 people, one that is of that age usually get affected. Now, the only thing that we can say, they have to come up with a measure, say that like if they are working in different offices, let them maybe work from home. If it's not possible, employ more people, young people, to come out and help in this thing.
Okay.
That's the measures that I think they should do now.
All right. A lot of people are questioning whether this reopening of the economy is really in the interest of Kenyans or if it's in the interest of politics. As you've been seeing, there's been a lot of that bubbling around in recent weeks. And many people are skeptical. What's your take on that?
You know, we cannot only base on political in everything, that it is just about politics, that's why we want to open our economy. Actually, but what we can say, Kenyans, not only Kenyans, but our government, some part it is failing. It's not the time to talk about even politics. If you bring politics in and opening an economy, you talk about the referendum and we have to jumpstart our economy, we won't manage this.
Yeah.
Actually, you cannot, like now the funds that are going towards the referendum thing, and the Kenyans are suffering. You wake up every day with kind of politics, which is not helping us. And I will urge the president. There's a time we said, let us tuangalie mambo na kujenga nchi, si siasa. Let us do that. It can be in the interest of, they want to, okay, people are saying, as you have said, it is about political things that they want to measure in. They think about the BBI coming back. That's why they want to open the economy. But BBI coming back and doing the referendums, we cannot conduct a referendum with the measures with the government that 1 meter or something and voting. You know how voting comes, is always chaotic, and also doing these rallies. Actually, it is political in some extent, but we need to put politics aside and let the Ministry of Health take charge of everything and come up with a strategy, like the team that was formed for to make sure the economic recovery. To me, to my concern, I don't agree with the team 100%.
Okay.
Because the team, you cannot tell me somebody, you are an engineer and you are in a team for economic recovery. It doesn't add up to me. It doesn't add up because we have so many people who can help and bring ideas of economic recovery. It's not about that somebody is powerful somewhere and is into politics. He have to be in a certain team for such kind of things. Here we have to look at what is the concern of the Kenyans. How do we help the Kenyans to come back to where they were? And this with politics is going to take us more than 2 years.
Well, okay. I don't know if I don't have much to say about, the qualifications of someone just because I have seen many people who have different experiences. Our pastor here is an engineering person. I'm an economist and not a media person, but here we are. So I'm going to leave that one there. But someone here on SMS is asking, do you think enough sensitization has been done so far that even after easing the measures currently placed, Kenyans will be able to take responsibility, this personal responsibility that you're talking about, in as far as containing the number of infections? Juzi nilikuwa supermarket na tumewekewa hapo chini my stickers, ndio stand 1 meter, sijui 1.5 meters apart. Jamaa bado ananifuata tu na nyuma, like he's still there. So I'm just like, you're talking about personal responsibility, but are we ready for that? Like, and do you think, like, if really the economy is opened again, or the curfew, for example, is lifted on June 6th, will Kenyans actually manage? If already with these measures, our infection rate has, I don't even know what the percentage rate is, but it's, growing exponentially with
It's really
measures in
growing,
place.
but Kenyans won't. Actually, Kenyans will even make it more worse.
So how do we open the economy then?
Because even now, you have said in the supermarket, walk in, not you are the only person taking responsibility of yourself because you care of your health. But somebody somewhere is not. Okay, before even we open it, just look at now. Go to town. People are crowded. There is a lot is happening at around 10, at around 4 p.m. all around 3 p.m. There's so many hawkers around doing their own business and selling second-hand clothes. Now, if you put on that second-hand clothes, you try to fit it and you remove it, I can't do the same. Am I not infecting myself? If you are infected, which we say that I have some people who are symptomatic, but the only thing here that should be done is about civic education. That's what
So you're saying not enough has been done?
it's not enough. Nothing actually. What has been done, it's not enough for us to open our economy yet.
Someone here says recent modeling from the Ministry of Health has shown that the COVID-19 infection rate in Kenya is set to peak in the months of August and September. Should we wait until then so that they reopen? Again, that is the question of the hour, the million-dollar question, really. Another says the pressure to restart the output wheel was evident from the head of state, as Kenyans from all walks of life continue to bear the hardships arising from widespread disruptions to routine life. I mean, honestly, we're in quite a mess, I have to say. I mean, it's globally, it's not just here in Kenya.
Yeah.
It's a difficult time, and yeah, I don't know, the struggle between balancing, the health of your population. So how do we prioritize this now that we know that August, September is supposed to be the peak? How would we prioritize? For example, on June 6th, if you had an opportunity to advise the president, would you advise him to still leave the curfew in place for another 21 days?
Uh, Basing on the health sector, in the health, if I look at the health of the citizen, Kenyan citizen, I will say yes.
Okay.
But in the economy perspective, I will say no, it's not.
Okay.
Because opening an economy in the fourth quarter, which is in September, when there is a peak, we cannot wait for it to, it's a peak time and then we say like, it's not actually this thing is not it's not a switch and off thing, it's a dial. We don't have to come up and say that now the economy should start when we don't have the measures, because we'll still close back. Why did we close the economy for the first place? Why all these measures came up with? Why did the president come up with all these measures to make sure that we have a lockdown? Because to contain the spread of the virus.
Okay.
Now, if it has not been contained, how will we be able to start our economy? Yeah, so it is actually, by now, it's not possible. But however, what I can advise the president, because I know Kenyans want the economy to be reopened, is that let it be opened, but with measures that the government have to make sure that they are followed and adhered to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think the US is also grappling with this question, and I'll just state this as we get ready to wrap up. But they're talking about reopening the economy too soon would sort of create what they're calling a W-shaped recovery.
Yeah.
W in the sense that you could really tank, then you have a peak, then you tank again, and then now maybe the economy would start growing back up again. And they're saying that unless the reopening is carefully managed with extensive testing and voluntary social distancing, infections will rapidly rise in many localities. So I think, as you've said, really the onus now is on us as Kenyans. Like, if we really want the economy to open up, we need to be playing our parts. We need to be wearing our masks. We need to be social distancing. We need to be washing our hands, and we need to be sanitizing, if at all we really want this economy to open up for us to be able to try and get back to some semblance of life. But thank you very much, Zach, for being here today. We do
Karibu
appreciate
sana.
you and your time this morning.
Welcome.
All right,
Joyce.
guys. Well, I need to take a break, but I also, just want to remind you, as we've spoken here about, oh, hold on, Zach. Hold on, Zach. Just a moment. It's okay. All right. As we've spoken here about, staying healthy and staying safe so that we can reopen our economy. Yesterday we talked about how to stay healthy when you're traveling in public transport. Today we want to talk about staying healthy when traveling in a private vehicle. Now, although taking private vehicles can help reduce the spread of COVID-19, compared to public transport, we can actually never really let our guard down, okay, during this pandemic. And here are some of the tips that you could follow when traveling by a private vehicle. Number one, you need to ventilate the car while it's running. Secondly, be sure to equip the car with masks, disinfectant wipes, and other personal protective equipment. Thirdly, also disinfect your hands before entering the car and after leaving a public space. And fourthly, I believe that is, you need to protect yourself from COVID. By doing so, you protect your community. Okay, ventilate the car, equip your car with masks, disinfectant, and other protective equipment. Disinfect your hands before entering the car. Be wiping down your vehicles as well, especially when you've been in a public space. If we're going to tackle this thing, we all need to be working together towards the same goal. Thank you once again to you, Zach, and thank you to you guys who've sent in your feedback in this segment. We're now taking a break as we get ready for the second hour of the show. Coming up next, Benjamin Zulu will be joining me as we talk about how to take your relationship to the next level. And considering you were talking about sexual purity today in the morning, I think there's a lot that we can actually pull from those conversations and many of the SMSs that we didn't get to. But you're welcome to send some more to 22999. See you shortly.